Thursday and Friday's games of round 3 are done. Instead of putting the videos separately, today we're talking them all together. Obviously here with Joe, talking Thursday and Friday. Joe, mate, a couple of really interesting games for starting up. Bulldogs and Brisbane, very, very close, kind of the showdown there. And then the game last night, Richmond versus Collingwood. Almost went down to the wire. There's a couple of times in that game I saw McRae looking really nervous. He's like, can we hold on? Can we hold on? What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, I think they were fine. I think McRae just holds his boys to a very high standard. They know that there were every chance to win. They blew a lot of shots. They were so inaccurate. It was unbelievable. But they managed to show that they really were the real deal. I was more disappointed in the Thursday night game. That was a shocker to watch. My word. It just felt like it was free kick Bulldogs. And the Lions were so bad going inside 50. Joey Danaher, Eric Hipwood, they were both shockers. I remember noting in the game, you might as well just be rushing behind these things and just giving the ball back to the opposition. They can't kick to save their life.
Yeah, Joyce gave away 5. Zorko gave away 3, and a couple of others gave away some pretty bad scores as well. It's just like when the umpires get involved like that, it really slows down the game. And as when we saw from the scoring, 67 to 53, it's not fantastic footy, but it is what it is sometimes, right?
But it shouldn't be that way, though, when you're playing in the immaculate conditions under the roof that is Marvel Stadium. The players should be able to play at their best. You'd expect it to be a high-scoring affair when you've got these two teams who we've touted over the preseason as being the best 2 forward lines in the competition. But we just really did not see that. But as we can see here, some of the top scorers as passing down the bottom, the Dogs, we got to start with the Dogs because they were the winners. And because they were the winners, we're going to play some music there, some upbeat music. This is a new feature, guys. Let us know in the comments below if you think this is a bit too cheesy. But when you're talking about winners, you got to be, a bit more upbeat. And the Dogs were more upbeat compared to the Lions on Thursday night.
Yeah, definitely. Had some massive scorers. Obviously, Tim English continuing his run. Almost the best ruckman, I would say, in Supercoach at least. I think he's just ticked over 400 points in 3 games. So really good, big congrats for those people that started him. Moving down the list, Libba bounced back, which was fantastic. Score of a 120 there, as we see at the bottom. Treloar 116, McRae 114. The big one, I think, this week was Ed Richards. Last week, I think he scored something like a 60. Really came in and went bang. I think your stats are a little bit wrong there, but that's okay.
What do you mean?
He scored 114, Joe. I thought he was 103.
Ed Richards. Why did it? What? Oh, that was a fantasy point.
111, Joe. Come on, first day on the job, and the media guy's letting the team down.
I'm just 111. I'm trying to keep him down. I'm trying to keep his ownership down.
went really big for a guy that's 460k. I think he's almost worth picking. What do you reckon?
100%. He's going to go up in price though this week, unfortunately. So for people who are holding on to a Jordan Ridley, for example, who might not score the best now that BZT is out with injury this week, he's going to be playing number 1 defender, unlikely to go up in price. So if you're struggling with a guy like Ridley, you can certainly go to a guy like Ed Richards. Congratulations to those who owned him. He's been doing well. Last week things might have been a bit dicey, but he's repaid the fave this week, which is amazing.
Yeah, there were definitely some people in the community who are having a bit of a whinge about him, saying, get out of my team, get in my team. I think the big one moving down the list is Oscar Baker as well. Really saved a lot of people's butts who had Hopper. Hopefully some people had him, had the E on him. I did as well. So just kind of holding out for, if Constable gets named this week. He's currently the emergency. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. But yeah, if he doesn't play, Baker's in. I'll definitely grab that 95 score this week.
Oh man, Oscar Baker came in clutch for all of us who have got him on the emergency in the midfield with Hopper holding on to Hopper. Hopefully, a 1 week injury, but that was such an amazing performance. On your Oscar, I remember watching that game. I was more excited about Oscar Baker than anything they had to show on the field there. To be completely honest, people were riding Bonds or Dunkley for
Mm,
their VC, but I was riding Oscar. He did a great job. His heat map wasn't the best, but it's incredible though. He got quite a few score assists by just kicking it to the top of the square, and it managed to work.
yeah.
So on your Oscar, you did a
It
good
really
job
was
this week, my
like
son.
it really was showing kind of what he did in that preseason game against North, just how versatile and things he
Yeah.
was. Bevo keeps pulling these mature age recruits out of nowhere. Guys from the VFL program, guys from other teams' VFL programs, they just come in and dominate. I mean, Baker that game would have been almost best 22 on any team in the AFL this week. So to have him for basically free, I'd be pretty happy about that as a Dogs fan.
Especially when, yeah, exactly. Especially when you're told, if I told you before the game started that Oscar Baker is going to outscore Bontempelli, what would you
There
have
you
said
go.
to that?
I'd say, get on your bike, Joe. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Obviously,
100%.
it didn't work out that way for us. The Dogs did all right. It wasn't fantastic. It was very scrappy. A lot of kicks that went into that back line of Brisbane just got intercepted by the big man that we're going to talk about right now. So if you've got him. Moving down that list, McKenna 57, as we said, Kadeen Coleman 47. So it kind of shows how well these halfback flank runners did for Brisbane. They did do very well. And that's pretty about it, really. Joe Danaher, 0 and 4. So he's getting a talking to. I know he's on decent money at Brisbane, but you should not be scoring 0 and 4 if you're a key forward. You're on the money. You need to perform every week. It's not that hard to kick a goal from a set shot, mate. I'm sorry.
Him leaving Essendon, it might seem like I'm some salty Essendon, but him leaving Essendon is one of the best things that's ever happened to us in the modern era. Getting him off the books, we got Archie Perkins for him, and also him and the departure of other people also led to a real look inside. What the hell has been kick goals? Danaher, he's a walking rush behind. So good luck. Good luck to the Lions. Their premiership aspirations. Yeah, they're going to need a bit more luck. But hopefully they bounce back next week. They're hosting the Pies at the Gabba.
So if they lose next week, they're in real trouble.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So then I suppose that's it for this game, right? We'll move to Richmond versus Collingwood.
Definitely. Let's go, Joe.
Oh, let's go. We start with Richmond. Richmond, they lost this game. All right. So let's just continue the music going there. Look, it was a fair shout. It was a fair effort. They tried their best. They were missing some really key, important players from this team, though, and it showed.
Yeah, I mean, Hopper was. Who else had a Hopper was missing, Joe?
They were missing Dusty Martin.
That's fair. There were also 40-year-old Dusty Martin on his last legs. You know, really big influence there on the team. Now, I think similar to what happened to Brisbane.
Short.
And Short, yeah, no, that's true. He didn't. He would have been a great tool for them this week. Just lucky he's not like 200 centimeters. Otherwise, nervous. Halfway through the game, as we saw DC kind of go down, I think it was end of the third, and Curvis came into his own. I think he scored 40 or 50 points in that last quarter. So that's bloody fantastic for them. But similar to Brisbane in the last game, these key forwards just weren't turning on. Guys like Lynch kicking 1-3. He had, I think, 3 or 4 set shots just in the middle, really nice straight ones, and it just went wonky. It's just like, guys, he's getting paid big money to do this. Little kids in their first year at AFL can kick goals. Something's up. I think it's a big confidence thing. They were let down by a lot of their players giving away free kicks, but also getting them. Guys like Dylan Grimes getting 5 free kicks, giving away 2. Jack Graham giving away 3. I know he was supposedly on the Dacos tag at one point. Obviously, that didn't work out very well. This kid's untaggable. Moving down their scoring list, though, so Baker, massive scores. If you had him, congrats, because I think he's popped out some real numbers the last couple of weeks. Nan Curvis, 124, as we said. Tim Taranto, 112, so kind of the opposite of what he did last week. I think he got sub 100 and now he's over it. So pretty much 100 average there. Prestia, 99, and then Shai Bolton as well. So maybe it was a Dusty thing. Maybe it was kind of the mature age Collingwood players holding up, whereas Richmond didn't have any. But we saw guys like Cumberland doing really well. We saw guys like Mansell doing well. Even Tyler Young held his own and could be an option if you're really desperate for some cash in that back line. On to Collingwood, Joe.
Yeah, especially if on Young, especially if Constable isn't going to be named again, if Constable isn't the sub and he isn't even going to be named at all next week, it might be like, oh boy, are we holding a dead rookie here, for example. So Tyler Young, 102k defender, very viable. Samson Ryan, who was subbed off on 27, he really is not a must-have. Even if he plays next week on the bubble, wouldn't really go there, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, I suppose that covers the Richmond boys. We now move on to the winning flag Pies. The hot Pies are in full force. It was wet, it was dour, but it wasn't enough to stop Collingwood and their march to premiership glory. I hate it when Collingwood wins. I hate the Pies, but they just go about their business and no one cares. Jordan De Goey, top scorer for the Pies, 122 Supercoach points, 35 disposals, 6 marks, 2 tackles. He could have had easily 150 plus. 0 goals, 3 behinds, big day.
This week. Shaq's definitely.
Oh yeah, Shaq is very happy. Shaq was raving the other night. The goatee he was calling him for a second there. It was not good. But yeah, another one of those players that just were very inaccurate in front of goal. Like I think the whole Collingwood team, they were like 1 goal 10 at one point.
Yeah, it's rough. Hey, these games seem similar to the one with the Dogs in Brisbane. Really short, really small scoring samples for both teams. You'd expect kind of the key forwards, the ones who I think are going to carry the game for them, actually doing that. But I think a lot of their scores actually came from their small forwards and the midfielders this game. So kind of showing how well the defenders work on either side. It's the midfielders that have to stand up. Dominant performances, you say, from De Goey. 3 scores almost or above 100, which is fantastic for those owners who picked him up, at sub 500k. I wonder if all of his kind of pre-season and off-season troubles are actually kind of going past him now. McRae's kicked him in the butt, said, hey, mate, you're going to get delisted. We're going to send you to Gold Coast at the end of the year. You can live up on there and get like no wins every year and 10 people watching your games. Sorry, Gold Coast. But another big one is the Dacos brothers. So I know we've spoken off air about which one's better. And you're like, Big J, Josh Dacos is the better Dacos. I don't know what's happened. This kid this year, maybe his brother coming in and actually doing something's really helped. But this guy's on fire. I don't know what's happening.
I'm telling you what's happening. Even last year, he was a very good performer, but the emergence, of Nick entering the competition and just doing whatever the hell he pleases. That's the thing. That's why I think Josh Dacos is the better Dacos, because he actually plays an accountable, genuine role for his team. He is the best winger in the competition. He's up there. I think maybe also one of the best decision makers in the comp. And he does a lot of great things that are absolutely necessary for his team. Nick Dacos is enjoying the benefit of playing for such a dominant side that allows him to do whatever the hell he wants. He can just run. Zero accountability. He just runs all over the ground and just wants the pill. He just demands the pill. Whereas Josh actually plays a role, and we saw how great his scoring is. He's averaging, I think, now over 100 with these 2 scores, over 101 in the 80s. He's done a great job for Collingwood, and for his price, he's cheaper than Nick, and he could be a decent shout, especially if we expect the Pies to continue with their hot run as they've started this year. They are dominating in contested possessions, and they're also dominating in field position, quick ball movement. They like to go wide and then attack through the corridor at times. They're such a dominant team. Josh could really be a good shout.
Yeah, I think he's the one of the players who really got the benefit of the Brown brothers leaving the team, and obviously that's showing quite well in these last couple of weeks. The commentators love saying Dacos to Dacos. It's going to become annoying at some point, but until it does, it's just what happens. I don't think there's many other brothers in the system who've actually done as much in such a short period of time as these guys, been as influential. Got one on the wing, one on the forward line, like almost as bad as what Kelly Underwood that kept saying green to green to green, like in the GWS games. Oh man, it's a bit annoying for those fans. Tom Mitchell, also fantastic. People picked him up at 520k. He's done wonders for them. Still side bottom. Mate, I think he started the season at something like 400k. Let me just quickly check. And then he's been on fire, Joe, the last like 2 or 3 weeks. Mate, if you started this guy, it's almost the second coming. These Pies of mature age players, Pendlebury as well, they can smell that the premiership's coming and they've put their big foot forward. They're like, we're going to carry you this year. That's it. A lot of us have got no contracts left. Still side bottom, 409k. Score of 84, score of 146 and a 114 now. This is the guy that was the same price almost as Cunnington, a little bit more than your Zeebles and these other players, but boy, oh boy, the guys that jumped on him, he'd be doing pretty well this year.
Making money.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
100%.
You probably could have been able to autofill your team at the start with just Collingwood players. You could have just gone autofill Collingwood, and you'd be laughing at this point because all of these players that last year no one could average 100 or more, and all of a sudden this year they are pumping out so many scores across the board.
Maybe that was the trick, Joe.
Yes.
Maybe that was the trick.
Exactly.
They were like, McRae's got everyone in his Supercoach team. Get him in. Make everyone super cheap last year at the start of this year, and then we're going to go bang. And then I'll pick up on my Collingwood guys. Tell us about Darcy Cameron. So he's kind of the big loss from yesterday's game. A lot of people had brought him in off the back of some massive scores. I know I was preaching to a lot of people to bring him in, but kind of explain to us what's happened, how long people think he's going to be out for.
It's
Obviously,
not even just about the massive scores. It's not just about the massive scores. It's also because of the news that Cox was going to be out with his own health concerns, and that Cameron was going to be solo rucking and there were some reports that Cox was going to be out for a month. And so when you're presented with a proposition of having a guy solo ruck forward for that price, it is such, and you got a guy like Sean Darcy who has a break even of 182. I can completely understand why a lot of people decide to make the flip to jump off of Darcy to get to Darcy Cameron. And it was looking to be a masterstroke. He was well and truly scoring a lot. He was getting a lot of hitouts, contested possessions, and he was looking the real deal. Unfortunately for owners, he had to be subbed out because he's done a knee injury. Some people are reporting that it's going to be medial. It's high grade, so it's going to be out for like 6 weeks minimum, which obviously makes him a must trade out. You can't hold him, of course, and it really sucks, especially for people. And it sucks because there are people that started with Gawn. He goes down. They trade like the Darcy, for example. He goes. They trade him to Cameron, Darcy Cameron. Now he's gone. It's been a really rough start, and that's why I started the year with Wits and Marshall. I'm like, I'm not playing around. I'm not messing about with this. I'm just going to get the guy who's very durable and is going to play me every week. Yes, I paid up for it, but I'm personally reaping the rewards of this decision. You saved yourself some money early, but you're burning a lot of trades now to make all of these corrections.
Yeah, it's like what we said about English, right? I mean, he's been on fire, as you said, with the last game review. Starting off 400 points in the last 3 games. You've got to start the risk. Obviously, Gawn and now Darcy Cameron going out's been terrible for owners, but yeah, it is what it is sometimes. Maybe just go up and pay up for an N Curvis, get a guy that never gets injured. He's going to pop out 110s every week and just be happy with that, really. It's going to be better than the Sean Darcy mess I'm going to get today. Even if he versus West Coast, it's going to be terrible. So, I don't have much hair to begin with, Joey.
He's going to go 160.
Coach.
He's going 160. Don't worry. He's going 160 today against the West Coast Eagles. They've got BJ Williams, bro. Cherry scored. Combin went 80 plus in 3 quarters. Flynn, no disrespect, he went over 120. Did he go like 130? Like, my word, if these guys are pumping out big scores against BJ Williams, I can only imagine. And the reports are that Luke Jackson's going to be playing midfield. And that's why they dropped Brody. So that they can play Jackson in the midfield. Mate. So you're going to be fine. You're going to get a lot of hit-outs of advantage.
I hope so. Anyway, guys, that's our reviews of the Thursday and Friday games this week. Hopefully your players scored well. Hopefully Darcy Cameron didn't hurt you too much. Remember, the E on Baker means that you've got to have a player on field because you want that 95 score. Let us know in the comments how your team went. Joe's really happy. I'm happy. North Melbourne's playing in like an hour or so can't complain about that. Let us know in the comments how your teams went, how your teams are going so far, who you picked for the captain and vice captain. Any final words, Joe?
Let us know if you like the addition of the background music as well. Personally, I think it's pretty funny. Having said music again, it's flipping to rock music. And the banner, yes, we've changed a few things, trying to make the experience a bit more nice, professional, fun for you guys. So let us know in the comments below any questions you may have. What do you do with DC as well? Leave those in the comments down below. And remember, like, share, and subscribe because we're pumping out the content for you. Stay tuned for more. Remember, here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work so that you don't have to. Bye for now.